Because we are live.
We're live. Changing Perspectives is live. We didn't advertise this, but we didn't know we were doing this until.
I also didn't really want to advertise it. Oh yeah, it popped up on here. Okay.
It did?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
On my Facebook.
I don't see it on my Facebook.
Well, mine is cooler than yours.
Oh, there we are. Look at that.
Oh, I'm hearing some feedback.
On your phone.
Yep. You're right. It's been a long day.
That's great. That picture is great.
Okay.
And we're behind. I'm going to share this stuff.
I'm sharing it too.
Sharing now. Custom. I might have to move the camera because all you can see is the top of my head.
I'm so glad that you spent time practicing this.
We'll leave it for now.
You have to leave it now. There's no.
We'll leave it for now. It's fine. I can look up every now and then. Hello. Oh, it's a little live thing. So we're using StreamYard, everybody.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Okay.
Hold on, I want to share it. Oh.
What are you doing?
I'm going to share it on Digibird Studios as well.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
Share to story.
This is all a new way. I shared it, but I don't know where I shared it.
I shared the story. I'm trying to. Is it on YouTube as well, Jenny?
It's not. It was supposed to be. I didn't check to make sure we were set up on YouTube.
Oh. Do you want me to go to YouTube or no?
No, because I know it's not there.
Oh, you know it's not there. Gotcha. So just Facebook Live.
Yep.
That's good.
And then we'll try to get it up on Instagram. We are still in beta testing mode.
We could upload it to YouTube as well, yeah.
Theoretically.
Okay. Well, do you want to get going here?
Yeah.
Excellent. And we can see the feed?
I can see it because Kristen just commented.
Nice.
Can you see it on yours?
What do you mean?
On your phone?
No.
Just I can. I'm in control of it.
Can I? Oh, if I click on chat.
No, you know
can I
what
see
though?
it?
Maybe, but I also can put them on the screen.
Comments.
Let's try that.
Oh yeah.
There we go. See, the comments are on the screen now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, what are we talking about? Oh, do you have to actually
You have to press record and stuff.
Press
So welcome to the live audience, everyone. If you're tuning in, hopefully this is a Tuesday evening. Maybe we've got people after dinner, they just got home from work, or just shut off their Zoom camera from their office day.
Yeah. Not parents of freshmen, because there's actually a virtual orientation happening right now.
Oops.
It started at 6, and I found out about it about 4 o'clock. I believe there's a replay.
Okay, but I didn't find out about that. Nobody emailed me.
Yep, I only found out about it from the Facebook page. Different topic,
boy.
different day.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, we just made the decision, like, I don't know, 3 hours ago to use StreamYard and go live tonight. So I don't have any special content planned. But the next time we do live, I'll have some special content.
Oh, special content for the people watching.
For just the live
Okay.
audience, right?
Okay. Jacob.
Well, good thing we didn't press record yet.
Jacob is
Can
playing
you text him? Actually?
Xbox in the next room, and we just heard him shout. So okay.
Text him.
I will.
I don't know
All
if he
right.
has his
Can you start us? This is pretty boring.
Not
right
while
now.
you're texting Jacob about being quiet.
Why? Okay.
I need you when I press record.
Okay. Why?
Because we have
I'm-
an episode.
I can multitask. Go ahead.
Okay.
Press record.
Are you ready?
Mhm.
All right. Hi, and welcome to the Changing Perspectives podcast, the show where we discuss a variety of topics, including grief, parenting, pop culture, and relationships. Join us and explore a number of changing perspectives. We're your hosts, Jenny and Josh Brennan. Hey, Jenny.
What? I wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
Just kidding.
You know what? Now we have to do it all over again.
No, we don't.
Hi.
I was just kidding. Hi.
Welcome to episode 73. Jenny, are you ready?
I don't know.
I hit
It's
record.
been a really long
Yeah,
day.
it has been a long day. So we're here with everybody. We're actually broadcasting this one live. So if you didn't catch this one on the Facebook feed, be sure to be on the lookout for other live broadcasts of the Changing Perspectives podcast.
Maybe.
We are using a new format called StreamYard. So we hope, I like this. I like the way it looks with the split screen. So hopefully everybody's enjoying that.
Kristen also likes the split screen.
Oh, awesome. And hopefully you can hear us okay, and the audio is good. The picture looks good from here. Yeah,
Great.
that's
So
it.
what are we talking about?
Cool. We have lots of stuff to go through. Hey, if you guys have not signed up for the newsletter yet, please do so. Jenny's newsletter. If you go to changingperspectives blog.com or jennybrennan.com, you'll get an opportunity to sign up for the Changing Perspectives newsletter. You get the latest news, content, resources delivered directly to your inbox. So it's exciting stuff. Lots of great content and special promotions and live things going on there as well. Who are you waving to?
Meg, she said
Oh,
hi.
hi, Meg.
I don't really know how to type back, so I'll just tell you.
You're just going to wave? I think you can type back, though.
I don't really know.
You must be able to.
Post, comment. I don't know. We're figuring this out.
But I think you can type on the actual Facebook feed, too. I don't know. Possibly.
Yeah.
So if you have not had a chance to check out the Changing Perspectives merchandise, please do so. We had a 10% sale that just ended, so you...
I was gonna look that up.
Are you going to look it up?
Mhm.
You can do it in real time, and I'll talk to everybody that I'm going to be shamelessly plugging the Changing Perspectives merchandise by drinking out of my Changing Perspectives coffee mug. I've had way too much coffee today, so I'm
Is that
not.
why you're a little annoying?
I know. Well, that just might be me. So I'm drinking seltzer, just regular, like seltzer water.
Like White Claws?
No, I'm not a White Claw guy.
Okay.
What's the ain't no laws by drinking White Claws or something?
Let's go with
Something
that.
like that. I don't know.
Something like that.
I prefer beer. So we just had a 10% sale end, we think, and there's some other sales coming up later this month for Changing Perspectives merchandise, so please check that out.
Free shipping on the 14th and the 15th.
Nice. Free shipping on September 14th and 15th for Changing Perspectives merchandise, so check that out. We've been talking about iTunes reviews for a little while, and we have
This is
exciting
so
news. Can you not? This is how podcasts work. There's a bunch of stuff we talk about at the beginning. I have all the stuff to go through. It's like housekeeping, but it's exciting. You know what's funny is when you comment on like that, that's like good radio, and people will laugh because you're making fun of me and stuff and getting annoyed. So keep that up. That's fine. That's fine. You can keep that up. But I'm going to read the iTunes review because
So I could have been doing other stuff.
people-
You didn't actually need me for this.
no, it's not a one person.
Okay, all right, just go for it. Just whatever.
See, you derailed us, and now it's taking more time. So here we go. iTunes reviews. As you've heard on the show before, iTunes reviews, if you write one, we read them over the air, all the new ones. Even if you have some constructive criticism, we will read those as well. We're not shy.
I am. I don't
It's
like
okay.
that rule.
Hey, listen, tell your friends about the podcast. Drop a link on their Facebook feed or Instagram. The more opportunity you provide for us to get those iTunes reviews, the more people Changing Perspectives will reach. And if you submit a review, we will read it over here. So we have a new review. We're very excited. 5-star review from username Mama Labs, which is a cool name. I don't know if that stands for like Mom of Labs, like Labradors, or a mom who's a scientist.
I actually think it was a man.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't ask the name.
Okay.
I didn't ask like the derivative.
Still, that's a very cool username. 5-star review from Mama Labs. Quote, love it. Super amazing podcast with the best host. Highly, highly recommend. So who exactly do you think this person is talking about? I definitely think not me.
I think you're the host. But I do think you need a fidget toy because you keep moving your microphone.
No, that's just what radio hosts do. They grab their mic stand. That's why you got to buy one that doesn't make a lot of noise.
Okay, that's weird.
That's what I do.
Okay.
I don't want a fidget toy. I want my mic stand.
Okay.
Also, hey, did you know that Changing Perspectives is brought to you all by BetterHelp.com? That's HELP.com. BetterHelp is an online counseling resource who makes professional counseling accessible, affordable, and convenient. They offer 4 ways to get licensed counseling through video sessions, phone call, live chat, and messaging. As everyone knows all too well, these are challenging times. And the broad expertise of the BetterHelp Counselor Network could provide anyone struggling with life's challenges the help they need, anytime, anywhere. Visit BetterHelp.com/changing perspectives. After signing up, you will be matched with a counselor in 24 hours or less. Again, visit BetterHelp.com/changing perspectives. Jenny, our first live read. I
You
just had to
just
throw
you
that
brought
out
me
there.
back to high school
Really?
when you had your own radio show.
I did.
I had a radio show. I feel like sometimes we did our radio shows together.
We did. For a little bit during the summer, we had one together.
I don't remember that,
Yeah.
but we had to do live reads.
Yeah, you have
So-
to. So yeah,
I never liked them.
a
So
lot
keep
of
doing
a
them.
lot of podcasts do live read instead of recording ads. We've all of our ads previously have been recorded and we drop them in later. But I figured we might as well do a live read, and who better to do that for than BetterHelp.com.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. What are we
Also,
talking
I
about?
wanted to give a teaser to everybody because we had a very fun morning.
We did, and thank goodness because
Yes.
I had a really
Set my
crazy day.
up. Yeah. Tell everybody what we did this morning.
We had a second interview with Gila Pfeffer.
Mm-hmm.
So we interviewed her. I actually looked. It was back in July of 2019.
Wow.
Yep.
Over a year.
And she is
30 some odd episodes ago or something
yeah,
like that.
she's an incredible woman. Her and her husband are from the U.S., but they relocated to the U.K. I think 11 years ago.
Mhm.
They've got 4 kids. They're all teens now. And she is a huge advocate for breast cancer awareness. We
Yeah.
talked to her about that. And we had such a good time with her last year that we said, you have to come back. And she said, sure. And so now that we're coming out of our hibernation and recording again, we
Yes.
had her be our first guest. So we recorded with
She's
her
the
this
best.
morning,
So fun,
also using a new platform. So we actually could video chat with her.
which is cool.
We're not releasing that because none of
The
us
video.
were prepared.
Yeah.
We're not releasing the video. None of us were prepared for video. Not that I'm prepared for video right now. At the end of the day, probably would have been better this
I
morning.
threw my Red Sox hat on, and that's what I did.
Okay. Yeah, but we talked to her about sort of the differences in parenting during the pandemic here in the U.S. versus the U.K.
Yeah.
And breast cancer awareness and a whole bunch of other stuff. It was like an hour and a half, and we could have kept going. Oh, TikTok, because she's got a wonderful
Yes.
TikTok. So that,
And she has a new book.
yes.
I just want to hang out with you.
I wonder if I can link that.
Written by.
Let's see if I can link that right now.
Drop a link in there. Edited by a really great author and editor, Jen Mann. It's a compilation of a bunch of different essays written by a bunch of great writers and moms and bloggers. But it was so fun to talk to Gila. That episode is going to drop next week. Look for that around September 14th or something like that. But we'll advertise that everywhere. So fun to talk to, so funny. We could talk to Gila for hours. In fact, we talked for well over an hour. And we will release it as is. We're not going to cut anything out of that because that
What's
was a
the
lot
book
of fun.
called?
I just want to hang out with you.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Can't find it. So I'll have to drop the link in later. Or you'll have to wait until
I might have it.
uh,
I can drop it later.
we'll put it in all the links for
Yeah.
the 14th. Okay.
For sure.
What are we
Awesome.
really talking about today?
Well, I have one more thing to say.
Oh my.
Well, it's a good segue because today's episode is based on an article that you wrote. And a lot of our content, as everybody knows, is based on Jenny's writing. And your writing right now is so exciting. There's such a fervor going on, and I'm so excited.
Fervor?
I'm so excited for you, and so excited for the world to get more of Jenny Brennan in your writing.
That's
Um,
scary.
No, it's great. Stop it. No more self-deprecation. Own it. Lean into it, Jenny. Lean
That's
into it.
Okay.
Change your perspective on yourself when it comes to your own writing. But you were picked up by. You're part of the Today's Community Contributors Group now,
Yes.
which is the Today Show, NBC Today Show, and they have a community contributors website that features a bunch of different writing from a lot of great people all across the country, and you are now part of that group in addition to a slew of other things, including Her View from Home on Facebook. And I just wanted to shout that out. So if you haven't checked out Jenny's writing, you can find it kind of everywhere. But if you follow any of our socials, you'll get a link to Jenny's writing. And again, today's episode entitled, I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but something about, what did you call it on there?
I don't know.
Back to school pandemic
Oh, on
style.
this?
Yes,
Back to school pandemic style.
that's probably what we'll call this
Okay.
episode. But this today was based on an article that you wrote, Dear Mamas, We Will Get Through This, Back to School Anxiety. Now featured on Medium.com, Mid-Century Modern Mag, an affiliate of Medium.com. Pick this up for Jenny, and you can find it there. I'll drop the link as well. Actually, I can do that on the Facebook feed, I think, Jenny.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write this? I mean, it kind of probably obvious, but what were you thinking when you penned this one?
Sorry, I have a friend asking me where something is located at a store.
That's not important for the podcast.
I know, but she's
right
running
now.
in right now.
Okay. I
Um,
asked you a question. This is
Okay,
how it
sorry.
goes.
this is the problem with me being on Facebook.
Mhm.
What was the question? Please repeat the question.
What inspired you to write this article?
Well, there's a lot of stress right now,
Yes.
right, with preparing for back to school. So I know some places in the country have already gone back. Some places, as we were talking to Gila today, overseas have already gone back. We don't actually go back until next week. And it's pretty stressful because it's not normal, right? It's not the normal
Right.
kind of prep. Like usually I'm super excited about this time of year. Like I love to go to Target and buy all the matching
Right.
colored notebooks with folders and binders and set it all up. Like it's super exciting for me to make a color coded calendar. But I don't get to do that this year because we start school
Right.
a week from today, I think.
Right.
And I still don't really know what it's going to look like, right? Like I don't really know what, especially for
Yeah.
our middle schooler, I have no idea what his remote days are going to look like. But they're school 2 days, home 2 days, 3 days, and it's super stressful. And there's a lot of that stress I think out there right now. So I was kind of feeling that from like the moms that I see as clients, friends, people just kind of out there in the world. There's a lot of stress about
Right.
like how the heck are we going to do this? How are we going to work and help our kids at home with school? How are we going to be like stay-at-home parents and educate our like 4 kids who are all doing different things? Like just the logistics is really overwhelming. So I wanted to sort of take a spin on it and remind people that it will be okay. It's going to stink. It's going to be really hard,
This
but we're all kind of in it together and we can support
Right.
each other.
this year is so different, and in ways that we don't even know yet, right?
Right.
And we talked to Gila this morning, who lives in the UK, which tune in next week for that episode. We did talk a lot about school and what it's going to be like for her in the UK and her kids. And there's a lot of unknown everywhere. We're not just, and that's the biggest thing. We'll talk a little bit later about some of the things you can do to maybe ease some of this anxiety and stress and get through. But one of the things, spoiler alert, we'll talk about is that you're not alone. We are in this together,
Right.
not just in the U.S. but across the globe. We're all dealing with this. But I wanted to reference your an article that's getting a lot of traction right now and means a lot to me. And we talked a lot about football on our podcast. We had a few different football-centric episodes. But football means a lot to this family. And you wrote a very poignant, sweet article about
What?
poignant. You make fun of me. That's just something really nice
I
about
know.
you. Making
I'm
fun
sorry.
of me.
I'm deflecting. I can't handle the praise, so I'm deflecting.
What's
the
the name
humor.
of the football article?
I don't know. So the thing is that sometimes when I submit them to
The
places,
title changes.
yeah, and so I don't really remember.
Ooh.
Our football season got sidelined, which is actually clever. I didn't write that part.
Someone else wrote that
And
for
we're
you.
really sad about it or something.
But I just wanted to reference that because that's really a good example of how truly different the world is right now, and what our individual worlds are like. I mean, watching professional sports games right now, looking at cardboard cutouts of fans and not hearing crowd noise, and everything from just the difference in our kids' activities, to school, to entertainment, to going to the movies. I mean, everything.
Well,
It's
those
different.
things are like the coping mechanisms, right? Like those are the things that for a lot of people help you with the typical school stress that comes up.
Yes.
Sorry, there's a little delay in my headphones, so it's throwing me off. Usually school is stressful, school is a pain, whatever it is, right? The
Right.
school year has its challenges, but there's usually something, right? There's
Yeah.
football or there's soccer. I think people are having soccer.
Right.
There's sports.
different, though.
There's
Everything's
things you can do on the weekend. I was thinking on the way back from picking up our son from the basketball court, outdoor court. I still know what that's going to look like, but like it's fall now, and I used to love going out for like dinner with you on the weekends. But
Yeah.
in the fall, I don't know. There's something about the fall,
Yeah.
and like a bottle of wine, and
The fall is our origin, part of our origin
it's our
story.
origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know that I can I'm still not comfortable really eating inside restaurants,
I know.
and I don't know that I want to eat outside in the U.S.
Well, I'm hoping that
I've
the
been
weather will
Boston.
be good enough to be outside for a while, and we can wear hoodies and sort of warm sweaters and
That
stuff.
doesn't scream date night.
Depends on the hoodie. Think
Okay.
outside the box, Jen.
Okay, I'll get a fancy
And
hoodie.
what if you like bedazzled a hoodie? There we go.
Nope.
Is that a thing still?
That's not-
No, but remember, well, Toronto, number one. Number two, I remember when we were in Miami.
I don't live in Miami.
I know, but listen,
Okay.
we were there in January, and you would think, oh, it's warm all the time. Not in January, but definitely warm enough to eat outside. But they had those heaters, those big heaters, and they really give off a lot of heat. So I wonder if there's going to be a lot of restaurants still offering outdoor seating through the fall, like late fall, with some heating options.
We're getting sidetracked though. But my point is, even those things we typically turn to are going to be
Might not
different.
be there.
So how do we deal with the back to school stress, right? Like thinking about it from the perspective of parents who either have multiple children at home, different grades, different schools, different platforms, and or are also trying to work, right? Like we sat down a week and a half ago while we were away on our little vacation, and we're in the pool and we're like, okay, let's plan out the first week of school. Like, when are you working? When am I working?
Yeah.
When should I schedule client sessions? When should I not? And we realized, oh, we still don't have enough information to
No.
do that. And so we
Definitely.
still don't really know what next week's looks like. Like, we don't know. I don't know who's driving them. I don't know who's picking them up. I don't know what pickup and drop off are going to look like
We're just
compared to
gonna
what they
use Lyft.
usually look like. Yep.
Maybe.
If we can put the kids on the roof of Lyft. I don't know what the hard spots are going to be for them in terms of logging on, logging off. What happens if they get knocked off while I'm in a session with a client at home and you're at your office. Like, it's just,
You're right.
it's a headache and it's a mess. And we're the lucky ones, right? Like, our kids are old enough to sort of manage
Right.
it themselves for the most part. But
The
imagine doing
preschool, like
this.
young
Imagine doing this when they
elementary
were in
schools too.
kindergarten, first grade,
Right.
even fourth grade. Like, that's hard. And so it's stressful and overwhelming, and I think there's a lot of parents who are just facing it with doom, also because
Right.
we know how hard it is, right?
Well,
We went through this already in March, April, May, and June,
A version, sure.
a version of it, and we know how hard it was.
What's funny is we talked about this.
Hmm.
I'm gonna try
We
to
talked about this with
scratch it, reverse it, and try it again. We talked about this with Gila this morning, about how, it was easy to lean into it when the first wave of the pandemic happened. It was like, okay, we're just going to stay home, shut everything down, everything's going to be fine, maybe a few months down the road, but it was just like, it's manageable,
weeks.
right? But now it's like, well, we have to live now. We have to move on in this setting with all these new parameters and these new guidelines and restrictions in place. Now it's time to get serious and move on. And I think a lot of us, in dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic, rather stay in the pandemic shut-in quarantine phase. That was easier compared to what we're dealing with.
Yes,
now, right?
actually, 20 minutes ago, someone just sent me a picture of a T-shirt that says "I heart social distancing," and she was like, "We need to buy these." Yeah,
Yes,
because there are
yes.
parts of that I like, right?
Yeah.
That social distancing, that slowdown, that
Right.
not having to be going 100 miles an hour, being able to eat dinner together as a family
Yeah.
most nights, like all of that stuff.
Looking back in that period compared to what we're dealing with now was easier. I feel like it was easier. It was scary.
There was less decisions to make too, right?
Yeah, the world was a little bit scarier back then. I know because we're lucky enough anyway to have some really great numbers right now and looks pretty good. But still, that even with those scary numbers back in April and May, it was kind of easier than what we're dealing with now. And you had written, there's a growing sense of fear, anxiety, and hopelessness. Those are some strong words, and I think, but it's real. It's really what we're all feeling. What are you most anxious about or worried about? What comes to mind first in thinking about back to school?
Balance. I don't know how I'm going to balance it all, right? Like I'm feeling pulled in multiple ways. We've got 2 kids, 2 different schools, I think 2 different systems. I don't really know. Fortunately, we have locations set for them, so that's good. But
Right.
balance. Like, how am I going to balance both of their needs, right? Because what if they need something at the same time? But also the fact that I work full time from home.
Yeah.
And you work full time 1 or 2 days at the call center. The other days you're here. So some days it's just going to be me.
Right.
While I'm seeing clients, how am I going to balance all of that? Also, really not excited about not being able to sleep until 7 anymore. But
Right.
I'll get over that.
Balance, I think, is a good answer. I think for me, it's unknowns still is what gives me the most anxiety. Like, yeah, we kind of know, I guess, what their schedule is a little bit, but I don't know what's going to happen if someone is positive in their
Well, I
school.
did
Like,
read.
what's really going to happen?
Yeah. So the thing is that there's a lot of information out there. And I think that I'm someone that enjoys reading and I think I'm pretty smart, but I'm confused with all of that
Yeah.
information, right? Like I made a GIF. Why do I never know how you
It's a
pronounce
GIF. It's graphic interface. Something.
funny thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I made one about.
Hey, listen, changing perspectives is in the GIF game now, and you're doing pretty good.
I'm trying. I'm trying to lean into
My
the like
personal favorite
entertainment
was more
fun side. That one got the least
right
traction.
here.
I think okay. But what was the one I made about like trying to understand the hybrid back to school plan? Oh, it was Michael Scott from The Office
Yes,
saying,
yes.
"I understand nothing," which is how I feel. Like I read all the things, I watch all the videos, I read the big like 25-page plan about what happens if someone is positive but they realize it after they get to the school and they took the bus. What happens if someone comes down with symptoms while they're in class? What happens if someone gets sick in the lunchroom? Like I read it all, and I think I'm pretty smart, and I still you're pouring beverage. I still understand nothing, so I don't know what's going to happen. Like none of it registers, none of it means anything. Also, that's not how I learn. I just kind of learn by doing. Right. So I guess I'll figure it out when it happens. But again, you and I are flexible. So if we need to suddenly go pick up our kids because they have to be quarantined and then we have to be quarantined, we are lucky that we can do that.
Right, for the most part. I mean, sometimes I'm 45 minutes away, and sometimes it's tough to leave my healthcare position.
Right. But I would be here.
But you would be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
but there are people that can't, and so every time I think about those sort of situations, I feel bad that this is just really messy.
Really messy. And I don't think there's really a way for it to be clean. I'm not sure.
No, and I think schools have tried so hard, and
shout out to school systems. Like I don't know. Let me get on my soapbox for a minute, because there's a lot of people being very critical of school systems, and it's just not that cool because they're really trying. Like all of us, like we're really trying to get through this, and a shout out to the school administrators and school.
Are you sure that's not?
I've been talking a lot. Like I probably doubled. I talked about twice as much as you because of all the housekeeping stuff. Yeah. So I'm getting tongue-tied.
Okay. All right.
Sorry. And we interviewed somebody for 2 hours this morning. So
true story.
I'm done talking.
Okay.
Anyway, shout out to the school administrators and school teachers and everybody trying to provide an informative, like enriching, safe experience for our kids. That's what, because their hearts are all in the right place, and they're just trying to do what they need to do to provide our kids with a good experience. You had written in the article, Jenny, a list of million racing thoughts in your head, and I think that I'd like to go through them because I think that we've talked about some of these already, but I think that a lot of people have these thoughts racing around in their head.
Well, and there's some people listening now, watching now, so maybe if they have additional racing thoughts, they can share them, because as they come in, I can hit them, and then they pop up.
Oh, I see.
Do you see them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Deborah loves when we are live.
I know.
That's exciting. Mm-hmm. I just moved my mic, and now I feel like I'm louder, so I apologize if I was softer a while ago.
Right,
maybe I shouldn't play with the mic.
Do you want the fidget toy?
No, that's going to be noisy. How can I help my children learn remotely this year? That's the first thought.
So these are like racing thoughts.
Racing thoughts.
All of them I have.
Like cyclical, like over and over and over again, right? Like, what is the best physical space for them? That's a big challenge. We're super lucky. They have their own rooms. They have their own desks. Their gaming setups are going to transform into their school setups. So we're really lucky in that. Mm-hmm. And we were able to provide them with devices so they could do their schoolwork remotely and have everything they need. But a lot of people don't, and they're just not sure where to put them.
Right?
Especially if you are also working from home. Like, and we had a friend that was talking about needing to upgrade their Wi-Fi
Right.
prior to school because some people don't have great Wi-Fi.
Well, we upgraded ours
We
in
did,
March
yeah.
when this all happened.
Right.
Because we needed to with,
Yeah.
with both of us working. But the back to school plan, the school plan didn't really require a lot of internet,
Right.
like live streaming.
But now, I mean, we need to have beefed up, souped up Wi-Fi.
Yeah, is that one of my worries because it is. I don't know what's going to happen.
No, you should have
If-
that though.
if
I think it goes along with the physical space. Like,
Mhm.
it's like resources.
Yep.
What do you have the resources you need to be successful and to actually
Mhm.
make this happen? Not only individual devices, but like a reliable Wi-Fi network.
Okay.
That's a real concern.
Mhm.
How are they going to stay engaged all day? That's for me. Because I don't know how. I don't stay engaged. I was in a meeting for an hour today, 1 hour meeting, go-to meeting, and I was kind of thankful that nobody else was on video, so I could like distract myself because it got really boring. the
You're
meeting.
just outing this right
I'm
now.
but
Okay.
I wouldn't say boring. So I was on a.
When you say boring, please
I don't think
fire
anybody
me.
from my work is watching. I try to separate my work from this podcast, actually. But, it was a meeting where there was different departments represented, and there was a bunch of topics that don't have anything to do with my department. It wasn't like my turn to talk. In fact, I had to. That's a stupid story. I'll shut up about that. But my point was, it was really easy for me to not be paying attention to the content of the meeting. And I was lucky that there was no video, so I could do some other things.
But you're
And that
an
was for
adult.
an hour, and
Yeah.
I'm an adult,
Mhm.
and I get paid for that.
Mhm.
I mean, these kids are not getting paid for it, and they have to sit there for way longer than I did.
Yeah,
Today.
I mean, I think the high school plan, it looks like they have their full classes sort of live streamed. So that's 5 55-minute sessions in a row of learning. And I know that on days when I had 5 45-minute sessions in a row today with theoretical breaks in between them, but I lost a big document. So I don't really know what happened. I had a tech issue today and had to recreate sort of my primary
You had like
document. It was
you had a
awful.
heart attack for
I
like
did.
a couple
I
hours.
did. I only lost a
Straight.
month's
Yeah.
worth of stuff, but I had to recreate everything.
Oh.
It's also what I track all my articles and banking. It's awful. I lost it all. I don't know what happened. So that's what I did in between sessions. But I'm toast, right?
Yeah.
I'm an adult and I get paid for this. And I'm really passionate about my
Right.
sessions with clients. I can't imagine doing 55-minute sessions of like what is he taking? Geometry. Actually, I do like geometry,
Yeah,
so that would be fun.
well,
But biology, like that, I don't know how that's going to look. I did hear over the weekend that maybe there will be like 20 minutes of instruction and then they can work on their own. I don't know. I trust that they're going to figure it out. But that's a concern. One of my racing thoughts.
right. Well, and being able to legit stay engaged, I think it might be sort of top for me as far as what are you most anxious about? So because you don't want that to be negatively impact them like grade wise and like performance and
Yeah.
conduct, and it's like, well, are the teachers going to take that into consideration when they're making those
I hope so, but I
what are
have some
report cards going to
friends.
look like? But
I have some friends in other districts who teachers did not take that into consideration last year.
really.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that kind of leads me to the next racing thought. You said, well, how do I make sure they learn something? Right? Like, how can I make sure they learn something? How can I make sure that they're actually getting something out of all this learning that's now remote and virtual? That's a real concern.
Yeah, but so I don't want to validate all of these concerns, right? Like we have racing thoughts, we have anxious
Right.
thoughts, and I don't want to validate that they are
Well, it could be real,
actual things that we're responsible for
like
because
real
it's
for people. Then.
real thoughts, but not real responsibilities, right? Like at the end of the day,
Right.
it's really not our responsibility as parents to teach them geometry or biology or Spanish. It's our job to support them, and that means supporting them the whole child, right? Not just
Right.
their academic stuff. But I think everybody can see now that you don't actually make eye contact with me because you're distracted.
Jenny, I'm doing other things.
I know.
That's how podcasting
I
work.
know.
People can see
But now
behind the
people can
curtain.
see it. So supporting the whole child, also their mental health stuff. And I know I'm a perfectionist, and our kids will tell you that if they get an A minus, I get upset because if it's something I think they could have gotten an A in, they're not doing their best.
Right.
But I don't know how much I care about that right now.
Yeah.
Like it's about balance for me. And we had a lovely conversation with Gila this morning about this, about like
Yes.
what is actually important for them to be learning right now.
Well, again, you mentioned balance. That's one of your racing thoughts. How can I balance their schooling and all the other things I have to do? So it's their balance and it's the family's balance and
Yeah.
individual.
Yeah, like how do I
Parent
balance
balance.
like how do I not go
Yeah.
crazy? How am I gonna like I finally got on a workout schedule. How am I gonna fit that in
Right.
with their stuff?
Right.
So lots of racing thoughts.
How are they going to feel emotionally with this new school plan? Like, how do they feel? And I think that, we maybe, I mean, I personally, I don't speak to everybody for everybody, but I sometimes forget to ask them how they're feeling because it's like, oh, they have to do this. This is the plan. This is what you're doing. Here we go. But really leaning into some downtime and some alone time. Like, we talked before about making use of time in the car, right? Like you just drove our 14-year-old home.
Yeah.
You make use of time in the car and have those discussions and maybe ask them, hey, how are you feeling about all this? Like, how are you feeling about your remote days and what are you worried about? What are you anxious about? Because sometimes it's just about talking about it,
Well,
not
it's
really
just about
fixing.
listening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
listening. And not really about fixing it. So asking them how are you feeling? How can I possibly do everything that is required of me? That's another racing thought. Back to that balance thing. How can you, like, logistically handle all this stuff? Like, for you, respond to a patient's question or make sure you're not
Just
late
be
for a
in
session.
right?
Right. For you, and for me to an extent, but you working from home, how do you not think about and worry while you're trying to be there 100% in a session, providing mental health?
Yeah. Well, I don't think I can, right? Knowing how it went in March, April, May, and June.
Right.
And so I think I have to flex my schedule. I just don't know what I have to flex it to.
Yeah, and that's again another unknown.
And I won't know that until we
Up
get
again.
through the first week. And so that unknown is really hard to manage.
What if I fail at this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What if I fail? What if the kids fail? What if the teachers fail? What if the whole
I'm
system
not worried
fails?
about teachers failing. I'm worried about like us like messing it up.
Not the teachers themselves, but like the system that they've set up. What happens when the network goes down, or there's
Right.
a water main break right down the street and it affects the electricity or something? What are the what ifs? And what if I can't do this? That's something else going through our minds. What if I can't do this? What if, it's just we can't make it work? There's not a lot of options there, but that's a real.
I think so. Trying to like poke holes in these anxious thoughts a little bit. I think it's about
Which is your job as a therapist.
Right. So I'm poking holes in my own thoughts, which is something we all should be able to do. Setting expectations, right? So what would that mean to fail? Like, how are you going to define whether or not you fail at this versus you succeed at this?
Right. What does that look like?
Because maybe you just need to set your expectation like, I'm just going to survive this. I'm going to do the best I can do. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be the best or my kids are going to do the best or they're going to write their best essays ever. They're going to learn Spanish the best they ever have. And maybe I'm not going to be able to see as many clients as I could, or I don't know what that's going to be. Not that I'm letting go of any clients, but like in terms of taking on new clients.
Well, like that goes back to, again, something we keep referencing, Gila's interview. Check out Gila Pepper's interview next week. We talked about the critics out there of the back to school plan. Sorry,
Dominoes.
Talking about like the gap, the knowledge gap, like the all the the knowledge that the students are going to lose by going remote. And it's like, well, we're going to get through this, and it's not going to be normal. It's not normal school. So we have to sort of take what we can get and get through it as best we can and survive. But again, sort of spoiler alert, we talked about this with Gila. This is such a unique experience that no one will ever forget. And it's going to be like a formative experience that will affect the lives of our kids and us as well as adults for the rest of our lives. We'll never forget this.
Stop moving the microphone.
Don't interrupt my thoughts.
Sorry.
See, completely derailed it now, right? No one can tell that I'm touching the microphone.
I can. It's distracting,
But
and
you
it's
can't
changing
even
your
tell.
voice
How is it changing my voice?
because you're going from like soft to loud.
Anyway.
Just pick your nose up.
No, I didn't. What are you thinking?
Right. I don't know. I'm thinking a lot right now.
You are thinking a lot right now. See, you had a million racing thoughts.
I did.
Am I going to be okay? Are they going to be okay? That's how you end this section.
Well, I wanted to address what you said before I got distracted by the microphone, but I
Well.
forget what you said.
Okay.
What were you saying?
I don't know.
Really? You do.
I was just talking.
The gap. You were talking about the knowledge gap and about it being like a formative experience. And the reality is that this is really hard for some children and some families, and so for some kids, this might be a positive thing, right? Like they learned how to build a kitchen island, they learned how to bake more, they learned how to, I don't know, whatever else there is. They're learning that there are lots of things in life that are beyond their control, and it's an important skill to be able to be adaptable.
And how to survive.
Right.
In those situations.
But for other kids, this is going to be a really sad time in their life to look back on.
Yeah.
And so that's heavy when you think about that. Like there are families that really are struggling, financially. They've lost their jobs. Maybe they're losing their homes.
Right.
They've lost their coping mechanisms. And so maybe they're turning to drinking or drugs or violence, right? There's a lot of things going on. And so I just think sometimes we need to check our privilege and remind ourselves that as much as we're complaining or I guess being nervous and anxious, we also have it pretty good.
We really do.
And so I think the point that I was trying to sort of get to eventually in the article was that we can't do this alone. That it's really important that we reach out to each other, that we lean on each other for support, that we reach out to our friends and say hey, I'm really having a hard time. Can't do this today, but that we also reach out to our friends and check on them.
Well, that was going to be, that's the next section of the podcast, of the episode.
Okay.
Is what's next? Like, how do we do this? How do we get through it? We have this back to school anxiety. You say, we will get through this. You've got this. But how? And that's what we're going to talk about next. Normally, here's where I do a break, but we already sort of did the ad with a live read. And I don't have any special content planned, so we're just going to keep going if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course.
Number one is this is not forever. Right? Now, it's funny.
Hopefully.
Well, it's funny to think about that. Going back to what we all really thought about in April or March even. Like, oh, this is going to be over in a couple of months. Like, even I had no idea. Nobody had any way of predicting that we were going to be where we are. I remember thinking about.
Well, I think there were some people.
Well, yeah, but I remember thinking about the football season and seeing all these different seasons end, like March Madness and baseball not starting. Hi, Norma Jean.
Norma Jean's here.
And thinking to myself, oh, football will start. So that's happening.
Right.
It's gonna be fine. We'll be on
That was our
the football
denial.
field. What?
That was our denial because that was the thing for our boys, right?
Yes.
Like, okay, they lost basketball, they lost lacrosse, they lost whatever they were going to be doing in the summer. I think it was lacrosse. But surely things would be back for the school year. Like even if they weren't in school, they would. Oh, Norma Jean's on
Norma
the stage.
Jean's on the
Okay.
live feed. Say hi, Norma Jean.
Oh, look at her. She's adorable.
Hi, baby.
Surely football wouldn't be canceled.
Yeah.
But
But it was.
it's a separate issue.
So
You can play soccer, but whatever.
I really want there to be folks that after listening to this, if you haven't done so already, do some research, read some articles, do some podcast listening. Stuff you should know. Obviously, I've talked about that before. One of my favorite podcasts. They had an interview with Bill Gates recently. Do some research. I felt better after listening to that episode and reading a few articles about vaccines and vaccine creation and what the next step is. We're going to be okay. This is not forever. We're going to see the end. There's still a bunch of unknowns, but there's a lot of stuff we do know, and there's a lot of stuff scientists can predict about the end of this pandemic and what that's going to look like and what the changes to global health and the global health community will be after this, and what we've learned, and how we're better prepared now for a future pandemic. So,
Oh, good God.
listen,
Please no.
there will be an end. This is not forever. We're going to be okay. We're going to get through it. It's going to take longer than we all anticipated, clearly, but there is an end. We're going to be okay.
To that point, Deborah asked, do you feel like there is also the possibility that this will become something that they have worked through and they will look back and say, remember that year we did school from home, as more and more of a drop in the bucket moment?
I think so.
Yeah, I think for a lot of kids,
Definitely.
It's a bigger deal for parents than it is for some kids.
Yes.
Right? Like they're just going to be okay. They'll work through it. It'll be fine. I think though for
And we
other
will
kids,
too,
this is a big deal. That if you're a child who has significant needs and
Right.
needs support, and or your family's not able to give that to you,
I think it's
this
the
is going
ripple
to be
effect.
a hard foundation.
Like the negative ripple effect of the situation. However, whatever your world is and how it was affected, that is going to be the long-term effect. That's going to determine the long-term effect.
Yes.
Right. If your parent lost their job or had struggled financially or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be more than folks that were fortunate enough to not have that happen.
Right.
But I gotta agree. Yeah, I think that is down the road. It will be, this thing that happened in 2020. But by 2021, the spring, we were okay. We had vaccines. And, did you get your COVID-19 vaccine? I mean, that's what it's going to be down the road. And that's what it's just an example of what the conversation could be. Yeah, I think I agree with that, though.
Okay. Cool.
And you had alluded to this a few minutes ago, but the second tip we wanted to share with everybody was you're not alone at all. We're not alone in this. We talked about this at the beginning. The whole country is in this together, yes, in different phases. School looks different everywhere, but it looks different than normal everywhere, right? Even in the UK.
I think so.
We talked about that with Keela. So it's a global issue. We're not alone, and you are not alone, and you've got folks around you that you can connect with.
Yes,
Hopefully.
It's harder to do that, right? Because you might not be able to be standing at the bus stop, right? Like if you're in a district where the busing has been cut by 70%, and so you're having to drive your kids. You're not able to sort of stand at the bus stop. You're not able to go sit at your kids' football games and sort of chat with other parents. So the sort of natural opportunities, if you're a parent that's working, you're working from home, so there's not like water cooler chat, standing in the lunchroom, hanging with people. So you have to sort of make those moments to connect and remind yourself that you're not alone, right? Because we are still somewhat kind of socially isolated here.
Right.
So you have to work harder at that. And that was part of my point, was to really put that in people's brains, to kind of think about that from the get-go, to think about checking in with each other, to think about making sure that in addition to doing all the things you're doing for schooling, that you're also making time for yourself to connect with others.
Right.
For support, to laugh, to cry.
Yeah. And the knowledge that, going back to this is not forever, we will get to the other side. I know it's tough to see that, like I just mentioned, but we will get to the other side. And going back to you're not in this alone, we will get to the other side together. Like you can, sort of connect with other parents now, but also, stay connected after. Like we will get through this together.
I feel like you're going to break into like a song, like a kumbaya.
I am a thespian,
song
in my heart, do you want to do some Hamilton right now?
Please don't.
I think I pretty much have half of it memorized.
We don't have the rights, so you can't. So sorry. Otherwise, I would say
You know what? Like, Lin-Manuel is so amazing. I think he'd be fine with that. He'd be like, oh, Yeah, no big deal.
I don't
Hamilton
think
for the masses.
so. I don't think so.
Ignore the negativity. That's the next tip. And unhelpful criticism. Sometimes you just have to shut off the social media. And you had just talked about this. Talk to people.
So we've shifted, right? These are no longer my tips
No, these are tips that
that you
Yeah.
gathered.
I gathered.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
I
that
figured
I'm
that
not
you would
getting
agree with them. Maybe
I
you
do.
don't.
No, no.
Sometimes you don't agree with me,
this sometimes.
but sometimes.
Just a little bit. Yeah, no, did I talk about this recently? You started saying I talked about
Yeah,
this.
you did. Because I asked you, you and I were talking about, I made some sort of political comment to you.
Mhm.
I said, did you see X, Y, Z? And
Mhm.
you're like, actually, I haven't seen that because, and tell everybody what the answer was.
Well, because I not unfollowed. I've snoozed a lot of people and pages on social media and unsubscribed to a lot of mailing lists. My list is not political, and I
Yes.
try to be uplifting.
Yours is great. And
Thank you.
for those that are listening to
Mine
this
is.
live, no, listen, for those seeing this and listening to it live, if you haven't done so, sign up right now for the newsletter. Go sign up. And tomorrow morning, in your inbox, you'll get a Wednesday wisdom,
That's
which
True
is
story.
so helpful. So thank you. I can't wait for my Wednesday wisdom.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you what it's about.
No, I'll see it tomorrow morning.
Are you gonna read it?
Of course I read them all.
Thanks. Now I'm distracted. The negativity. Oh yeah. So I have sort of curated my social media so that it's sort of happy and uplifting. I know that's fake and phony. Like I get that, but that's just what I need right now.
It's not fake and phony.
Well, it is. I mean, I'm hiding from some real stuff out there, right? But because I've done that, I also don't really want to talk about it, right? So when you come in and you're like, "Did you see this thing that was shared or this article?"
Yeah.
I was like, no, because I hid it, and so I don't want to talk about it either.
And I can kind of
Because that's the way that I'm ignoring or avoiding the negativity, because I'm realizing that it just it seeps in. But also because I'm on social media a lot now, so really trying to be really active
Yeah.
with the Changing Perspectives page and with this writers group that I'm part of. So I'm on social media a lot, supporting other writers. We're supporting each other,
Mhm.
and so I guess I was seeing it a lot more because I was so active on it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Mhm.
I need to follow your advice, I think. I need to
It's really
Ignore-
freeing. Like when you
some of the criticism
and listen, when you want to see all the negativity, just go to
and
Twitter.
it's easy. Yeah, right.
And Twitter is all
Yeah,
negativity.
unsnooze all the folks you snoozed. There you go. But shut off social media and or turn it into something that you can uplifts you rather than sort of upsets you, brings you more anxiety. We don't need extra anxiety right now. We just don't.
We don't. There's enough.
There's enough.
Yeah.
There's
So I
enough to
always
go
say
around.
don't borrow anxiety from the future. Maybe I also
Sure.
should say don't borrow anxiety from social media.
The next one is pretty much the opposite of that. I wrote focus on the positive. So like an example of that could be what you just said. Changing your social media feed so it is more positive and more uplifting and something that makes you smile or makes you feel warm inside rather than makes you feel upset.
Really cheesy. It makes you feel warm inside. But I was thinking,
So critical.
I am because it's been a long day.
I'm just
Sorry.
kidding.
I'm really upset that that
It's
Excel
fine.
document died. I don't know what
Oh
happened.
no, you deserve to be upset.
Um,
But yeah, focus on the positive, whatever that means. Like I'm so excited that in 3 to 4 days, the NFL season is going to kick off.
I am excited. Yeah,
Yeah,
Jackson
like,
texted
that's
us
a
today
positive,
and said
like,
that the Patriots are playing the Dolphins and Tua is starting and Tua is Jackson's
favorite quarterback.
quarterback. And so that's exciting. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, he doesn't get to play football right now, but we could maybe watch
Yeah.
it.
Right.
But I was going to say something. Focusing on the positive.
Yeah.
I think there's a psychological sort of phenomenon that what we focus on, we see, right? So if I said to you like, how many red cars did you see today? You'd be like, I don't know. I wasn't focusing on that. But if I say tomorrow, I want you to count all of the red cars that you see. That's a song, right? Counting red cars, counting
don't think
blue
so.
cars. Yeah, she counts only blue cars. It's a song. Someone help me out. It's a song.
Okay.
You would come back and you would be like, all right, I focused on the red cars and I counted them. I saw 7, right? It's the same with sort of negativity and positivity. Not that you could choose happy. I'm a big proponent of you shouldn't tell someone who's struggling with depression, like, just be happy, just focus on the positive. that, don't misunderstand me. That's not what I'm saying about it.
Right.
What I'm saying is maybe when you're going through social media, look for the positives, right?
Yeah.
Like rather than jumping into like a political negative thing and commenting on it or talking to me about it or something or
Yeah.
sharing it with someone, maybe still do that. But also, could you lean into the positive stuff that's on there? You know, someone who's sharing about like, I don't know, whatever positive stuff is going on out there,
Yeah.
a recipe they made or something new they bought or time they spent with someone. Could you also lean into the positive stuff as much? Could you look for it? Could you say like, I'm gonna make sure that I maybe infuse positivity here in at least 5 ways today, right?
Yeah.
So I think there is a way to be really specific about the positivity versus the negativity.
And it's obviously, relative to you. What makes you feel happy,
Right.
Personally, I have started playing guitar a lot more than I have in the past, and getting a chance to share that with some other folks that are
Right,
in
you're
our
giving
bubble.
lessons again.
I'm giving lessons again, sort of by accident, I don't know, it's kind of weird.
It's a cute
But
story.
funny. It's a cute story for another time. But yeah, that's my positive. I have, and to prepare for the weekly lesson that I give, I have to play a little bit and do some song choice and go through it. So making me a better musician and teacher, and so it's a lot of fun, and it's positive, like
Mhm.
focusing on the positive. And that's something that is special. Whatever's going to be special to you. And then reminding your kids to do the same, like focus on the positive with them,
Right.
as well. Because again, this is the back to school episode, so it's about getting you and your family through it together. Speaking of which, the next one is a nice little segue. Talk to your kids. Try to look for opportunities to connect or new experiences, right? Or keep doing the things that you have enjoyed. Like try to figure out a way to continue doing those things that you had a chance to do that you don't normally get a chance to do, like more family game nights or dinners, whatever that is. Try to infuse those continually through the next few months, right? Like that's super important. Like we have pretty much a nightly video game
Right.
session with Jacob, and it's so fun and something we look forward to, and something I hope that we can continue.
Yes,
through
and we
this.
are playing Care Bears. That's what we thought.
No, tell everybody what we're playing.
I'm not coming.
Just go ahead.
No.
It's okay.
Mm-mm.
Out us. I think we talked about it before.
I think we did, but I don't even know what it is. Are we playing Call of Duty?
We're playing Call of Duty.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm
We-
getting really good at gun game.
You. Well, listen. It reminds me of the Office. Everything just comes back to the Office.
And Target.
Season 3 in Stanford. Jim Halpert was struggling to play Call of Duty. It's hilarious.
Jackson was watching that episode the other day as I was walking by the living room, and that scene where I don't know,
Karen
nope,
and
Jim and Andy and their boss Brian,
Josh.
Josh. Oh yeah, your name.
Okay.
Is like yelling at Jim and telling him he's like bringing the whole team down, and I was like, Jackson, I'm Jim, huh? He's like, yeah.
You're
Totally.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
No,
I
you're
am.
not.
But it is fun, and
There's
actually,
people not
Jacob
worse
gets to
than
be like my coach, which is
Yeah.
really fun.
you. Yeah, it's cool.
I was going to say something though, and I totally forgot. Oh, I don't know if you noticed, but I almost started crying when you were talking.
Right.
Did you notice that?
I did, but
Okay.
I was going to ask you later. But
Well,
go ahead.
because as we were talking about like doing the fun things with your kids, I realized in that moment that when the quarantine first kind of got lifted, the only people we let into our bubble really were my sister and her husband and their kids. I don't know if they're still watching. I know I saw them earlier. But we like all cried when we saw each other for the first time,
Yeah.
and we broke rules and hugged and decided like, okay, we're at the bubble. But we just went 2 weekends without seeing them. And I
Yeah,
think
not
we
cool.
probably went, I don't know, 10 or 12 weeks, right? Maybe more.
Yeah.
With seeing them at least one day a
Yeah.
weekend, and we traveled with them and rented a house together and spent time together. And I realized like I really missed that the past 2 weekends. It's weird. And so
I said that the other day. I'm like, I miss them.
yeah. Well, we are seeing them this weekend, hopefully.
Yes.
Um,
For our niece's 12th. Oh my God.
Oh my God!
It's
Go
birthday.
away!
12th
You're
birthday.
terrible.
What?
Don't think about
What are we
that.
doing?
Um,
Never mind. I don't want to do that anymore.
Her last birthday before she becomes a teenager.
Oh
This
my
show just got. Now I'm really gonna cry.
Oh man.
But that I think has been really important for our kids, and I think those are
Yeah.
memories that maybe they'll look back on positively.
Yeah, listen, I was going to ask you why you're getting teary-eyed, and then
So you're not a therapist. I would have asked you right then and there.
really,
Yeah.
go on.
Nope, I would have said, I see emotion in your eyes. But I'm not that deep. Maybe I am.
No, really, it was something that makes me smile too, thinking about the time of those special moments and our opportunity to get closer with certain members of the family, our family. And we were close with those guys before, but we're even closer now. I feel like because of the pandemic and being able to have those connections. But I can't stop thinking about how our goddaughter is going to be 12.
Yeah, you're a jerk.
I don't know. That's
Focus on the positive.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Listen, final tip that I wanted to share. We're just about at an hour, so this ended up being good content wise. I wasn't sure how this was going to go.
Well, like 37 minutes of it was your housekeeping at the beginning.
It was like
merchandise and iTunes
I had to do
ads.
it. Listen, you got to keep the lights on, right?
This is not paying any bills
That's
for us.
not paying at all. and if you buy merchandise, they can get like 10 cents. But it's really cool merchandise, so check it out. Self-care, not selfish. Self-care reminder for everybody, not just yourself, but your kid's self. Remind them of that it's important to have self-care and to take care of yourself, and through everything, but especially through experiences that have a heightened level of anxiety and stress. Self-care is super important.
Well, remember she just nudged me.
She's like, I have self-care, I have to go pee-pee.
Yeah, no, she's like, can we go snuggle on the couch? Self-care has to be scheduled, right? It's not something that's just going to happen on its own, especially when you're doing pandemic back to school, right? You're, sorry, she's very distracting. She's getting feisty and she's going to start barking at us if you make eye contact with her.
Stop talking about it.
Okay. It's not going to happen, right? Because we've got all these competing needs. The kids' needs, our needs, work needs, bills to pay, right? Lights to stay on.
Right.
And so the last thing that's going to happen is self-care. So really important to think about, what is your self-care plan going to be? What is it? Is it 5 minutes in the morning outside on your patio having a cup of coffee before the day starts? Is it a FaceTime with a friend? Is it sitting with a friend outside? Is it going out to dinner? Like, what is it going to be? Is it getting your eyebrows done, your eyelashes done? What is it going to be? Is it reading a book?
Right.
But deciding what it's going to be. And now, if you're not already doing this, mindfulness and meditation, yoga, good practice.
Check out our mindfulness episode. Don't remember the number, but we did one.
It was something before 73.
Well, good. Yeah, so that's super important. So self-care was my final tip for the day.
Okay,
For
those
this
are good
episode.
tips. I applaud your extra tips that you
Okay.
came up with.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jen, well, that brings us to the end. We've been talking with everybody for about an hour, like I said. Do you have any final thoughts for us? It's okay. It's going to be okay, everybody.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, I think this is the article where I said, like, there's going to be days where we cry, where we scream into pillows, but there's also probably going to be days where it's not so bad.
Right.
Where, maybe the kids have fun, maybe they do learn something, maybe there's no tech issues, maybe nothing goes wrong, and maybe we get to sort of enjoy our time together.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
I
can
agree.
get through this. Don't put extra pressure on yourselves.
And we will do maybe another follow-up episode in about a month or so
Let you know.
to
Let you
see
know how we are.
how everybody's doing. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
So our next episode is the interview with Gila
Check
Becker
that out.
about her book, about parenting, about breast cancer awareness, and her journey, and how she was very supportive during
You're still-
time when I needed her. And then I think the episode after that would be a relationship one.
Okay.
I think it's time to get back into like a
Yeah.
quiz. We haven't done a relationship one, I think, live.
No, we haven't done a myths about. Maybe that can be the myths about couples therapy.
Oh, couples therapy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the myths about.
All right. Myths about. Okay,
Myths
maybe
about.
we'll do that. It'll be
Okay.
some sort of relationship one.
Yeah.
And we are seemingly committed to releasing episodes every Monday. So be on the lookout for that.
Well, this will come out
Don't
on
know.
a Wednesday.
Right. So be flexible. And also,
Once a week.
I have no
That's
idea.
what we're committing
I
to.
have no idea when we're going to stream again, because we've realized the reality is that when we record, Often it's like, you know, pajamas, it's not makeup. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't ever have makeup on and you look. So for me, I was not really comfortable with like recording on Sunday morning.
But I like the feed better.
I think
The
I like
video is so
StreamYard.
much better.
Yeah, I think I
StreamYard is
like
good
this.
with a split screen. That's good. I like it.
I like
Good
being
find.
able to
You
see
found
people's
this.
comments
Yeah.
and share them. So
Well, we have the banner, the episode name,
Yeah.
and everything.
and it's cute little goose, duck.
I think it's a duck. Comment, everybody. What is the StreamYard logo? In the upper right corner.
And why is it a goose or a duck?
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Anyways, sidetracked. But
Anything
thank you
else?
for being with us.
Yeah.
And thank you for the content. And
Yes.
it will all be okay. And yeah, we'll check back in
We'll be
and let
okay.
everybody know how we're all doing.
Yeah. I want to hear from you too.
Me?
See how you're doing. No, the audience.
It's like I live with you. I will tell you. Don't you worry.
Okay, everybody. Well, that
That
is
is
going to
gonna
do it for today. Do you want to do the ending or what?
No, because I don't have it memorized. That is going to do it for today. Be sure to.
Just stop.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you. Bye. That's going to do it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. For today's show notes links, you can check out Jenny's article picked up by a Medium affiliate, midcenturymodernmag.com,
It's
entitled
actually Pandemic Diaries.
Pandemic. What did I just say?
The mid-century modern mag. That's their like website, but it's actually their
The
pandemic diaries.
Oh, cool.
It's a collection of writing about the pandemic and how
Everybody's
it affected
experience.
people.
The article's entitled "Dear Mamas, We Will Get Through This: Back to School Anxiety."
I apologize for not including the dads.
It's okay. That's implied. Please follow us on Facebook, everybody, at Changing Perspectives Podcast, and on Instagram at Changing Perspectives Blog. You can send us an email to changingpodcast@gmail.com. You can also visit our website by going to changingperspectivesblog.com. And while you're there, don't forget to visit the shop to check out all that Changing Perspectives merchandise. Go ahead and subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. And we say bye, Jenny.
Bye, Jenny.
Don't even stream yet.
All right.
This is extra content now.
I don't think anybody wants that.
So we just ended the recordings. The episode is recorded, and I will cut it and release it tomorrow. And do you have anything else to say to our streaming audience? Do you have
No,
anybody
thanks for
watching?
joining us.
I
That
have
was
4
fun.
watchers right now.
1 year ago was the mindfulness episode. So
Oh,
we're number
nice.
47.
Thank
Oh, I like
you.
that. She's like a little producer right now.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Producer
Yes.
Deb.
I
I can't type at all.
You can't. Also, your keyboard is really little. No, I had nothing extra.
I can't type at all.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to say bye to everybody in streaming land?
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. We will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in, and be on the lookout for another episode.
Oh, and feel free if you're watching the replay, right,
Yeah.
to comment, and we will be sure
Yes.
to engage with you.
We're going to try to upload this to YouTube and Instagram.
Let's see how
We
it
think.
goes. Wish us luck.
Fingers crossed.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.